All right, folks, we are ready for our second Civil 3D instructional video that you're going to be using on this week's homework assignment 4. So I have the assignment pulled up here. I'm going to pull the assignment up. I like just downloading it as a PDF. And then when that completes, I just pop it up in my browser. It makes it easier, I think, for me to see. You do you. So now I have that popped up here, and I'm going to scroll down. And part 2, Civil 3D, I'm going to slightly move it out of the way so I can keep referencing it. I'm going to go back to the assignment. I'm going to download the drawing for the last problem. When I click on that, I'm going to say download, and you should see assignment 4.dwg. So I'm going to go back here. I'm going to zoom a little bit, and I'm going to move this over so that I can reference it as I do this assignment. So next step, you're going to find Civil 3D on your desktop. I'm going to close this down. I'm going to go over here to CE software, and I'm going to click on Civil 3D 2026. As I'm waiting for that to start, I'm going to navigate to downloads, locate my assignment, and again, make a folder on your desktop. Oh, it went away, but that's okay. I'm going to minimize this. Okay. I am going to sign in to my Autodesk account. Use your Lafayette information. Next. You got a Duo. I hate it. You hate it. We all hate it. But it is what we must do. I'm going to not save my password. I'm going to say yes to the Duo. It's going to take me in. I'm going to say open product. And over here, you should see yourself signed in. And this is your quick reminder. Make sure you sign out when you leave. So I'm going to close these down. New folder on my desktop. Again, you can always right click new folder. I am just clicking on the words, and I'm going to call this homework 4. Open it. And then under downloads, you could either copy paste this into this folder, so Control C, Control V, or you could actually just drag it over if you open 2 file explorers. Either way works. So back in Civil 3D land, I really encourage you, instead of double clicking on this, if I double click on this, it doesn't always know what program to open it with. So my recommendation is open Civil 3D, and then from that Civil 3D menu, go to open your desktop and your homework 4 folder where you can open up that assignment. So I can get the pan, which allows me to move around by holding down the little roller on my mouse and moving my mouse from side to side. What you are looking at here are points. We're going to use points in this class in a couple different ways. These don't have elevation. They say 0.00, but the points that you're going to see related to lab are going to have information there. Points come in with a number, tells you what number they were taken in, usually from a data collector, which we'll learn to use. And then they usually have a label. So BLD for building, fence for fence, and we have CLX and CL. Maybe you're like, what does that mean? If I go back to my assignment, it tells you what each one of those abbreviations represents. All right, so today, the new thing that we are practicing, we're going to use a couple different commands, and we're also going to use the layer properties tab. So let's check out layer properties. Layer properties is under the home menu. So if you're under analyze or view or something else, if you click on home, you are going to see layer properties over here on the right. And if I click on that layer properties, you might be used to moving things by grabbing them at the top. Civil 3D does things a little bit differently. To move it around, you can grab the side. Layer properties basically specify the layers in a drawing. They have information about color. You can choose a line type. You can choose a line weight. A lot of the land development drawings that you will see in this class and outside this class have a lot of information associated with them. So when you are drawing something, it is helpful to have different layers because you can turn those layers on or off. So over here, if I hover, what do you think that light bulb does? It is a on-off feature to turn a layer on or off. We have some other features here that we'll also use later in the course. You can lock a layer, meaning you won't modify it, which is sometimes quite helpful. For today, we are going to make this a little bit smaller, if it'll let me. We're going to make a couple of new layers. So I'm just going to move this guy over, if I can. There we go. And the assignment has the new layers that I'm asking you to create. The layer names over here, the colors, and the line types. So to make a new layer, as a reminder, in Civil 3D, if you hover over anything, it's going to tell you what it is. So the X, you can probably guess, that allows you to delete a layer. The check mark is interesting. It makes the layer current, which means you are drawing specifically on that layer. So in this case, we want to make new layers, which is this little star feature here. The building layer already exists. It is red and it is a continuous line. So we're going to make the next one, road CL or center line. I'm going to click on new and I'm going to type in road CL. And we are going to make this one green. So I'm going to click on the white background instead, pick your favorite green. And I want this line type to be center. So I'm going to click on that. Let's choose center. All right, road CL. Next, let's do edge of pavement. Just type in edge of pavement. The color is going to be blue. So I'm just clicking on the color and then choosing my favorite shade of blue. And then the line type for that one is dashed. So I click on that. Let's grab a dash line. Let's make a new one. We've got fence line. That color is going to be magenta. So pick your favorite shade of pink, purple. That one we want to be a fence line type. So I'm going to grab fence line 2. All right. And last but not least, we want a text. So I'm going to type in text. We want it to be white. And we want it to be continuous. Just a regular old solid line. All right. I am going to slightly move this over. And now that I have all those lines in there, I'm going to start drawing. So I'm going to follow what it says over here. So from the point locations shown in the drawing, complete the following. Draw the fence line on the fence line layer using the polyline command with a line width of 0. So first thing I'm going to do is select the fence line layer up top. I'm going to click on this and scroll down a lot of C. We're going to go to fence line. And it says use the polyline command, which is P-line. Before I click enter, I'm actually going to say escape because I want to point something out that is going to make your life happy. So down here, we are going to have something called snap. Snap is going to be very helpful for you. You can turn snap on and off. And if you click on this little arrow, it is telling you what it will snap to. Go ahead and select midpoint. I'm going to take away center. I'm going to grab node, intersection, and yeah, we can leave extension. There are lots of options for snap that you may find useful in this course. So let's give ourselves a P-line, specify the start point, and notice how it snaps immediately to the center of that node, that point. Clicking there to my fence line, to my next fence line. I can pan as I'm drawing this to my next fence line. I'm panning as I'm drawing this fence line. And to pan again, remember you are, even as you're in the command, so I'm loose right here, I can hold down the mouse wheel and move as I go, and then up to the top. And to exit out of a command, I can say escape. Oh no, I didn't specify the line width for that one. I want a line width of 0. So let's double check it. I'm going to erase that, select the object, and click Enter. So let's take a look at where we specify that line width. I'm going to type P-line again. I'm going to click there. And as soon as I click, you're going to see all of these options down here. So I'm going to type width. And good news, it was a line width of 0 anyways. So I'm going to say start at a 0, end at 0. You can always put a new number in there. The number here is the default. So if you press enter, it just takes that value. And again, I can do this clicking. I can pan as I go. All right, over, I'm hitting all these lines. And then back up to the top and escape. If I want to repeat the same line, which I want to connect these fences because this is actually 3 lots here, I can click spacebar. And I can grab these P lines, escape, and spacebar, and P lines, and escape. So I've got a fence line. Next, draw each building on the building layer using the polyline command with a line width of 0.25. So I'm going to change this. I'm going to find my building layer back up at the top. And again, I'm doing a P line. And I'm going to specify my start point. My BLD points are my building corners. So I'm going to grab one and let's do the width. So instead of 0, I want 0.25 and 0.25. And I am going to grab each of these. Awesome. Escape. Spacebar to do the same thing again. Escape. Spacebar. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Escape. There we go. All right. Looking nice. Draw the center line of each of the 2 roads. So roads are CL, indicates a road. Center line of the 2 roads on the road CL layer using a polyline command and a line width of 0. So back in Civil 3D, let's go to our road layer down at the bottom, road CL. And I'm going to zoom out a little bit. These points are my road. And each one is labeled in a slightly different way, and the assignment tells you what these are for. So I'm going to P-line again. I'm going to start up here at the top, and I want a slightly different width this time. The width is at 0.25. I'm going to make it 0 and 0. And I'm going to draw my road down to here, and then escape, and then space bar. And I'm going to connect that part and escape. And then I'm going to zoom over here and hit space bar and connect these 2 points over here. Again, you wouldn't know to do that. I'm sort of taking you through it. All right, for the longer road, we are going to use the arc command. So we are going to use the arc command within the polyline to develop that circular curve. So let's do that. Again, I'm going to type P-line, specify my start point. I can zoom in, and I want an arc between these 3 points. I'm going to start by clicking here. There's a lot of options that are available here, and we want an arc. So once I do that, I get even more options. If I try to just click and click, that doesn't really look like the way a road should look, right? So let's erase that and let's try it again. Enter. All right, well, not erase again. Let's do a P-line, and we're going to specify the start point. Arc. We have, in this case, do we have an angle? No. Do we have a center? Sort of. Do we have a direction, half width, line, radius, second point? We have a second point. So let's use our second point to here. And look at that. Now we're getting a really nice looking arc. And you can come down to the end point and click to end it, and then escape. So there are lots of ways to do everything, including just draw a line. I'm going to click on this and remind you, so many ways to draw a line. For each of the things that you can do in Civil 3D, there are many options. All right, we have our road center line drawn. Now we're going to use the edit/modify commands. So modify over here. We're going to offset the edge of pavement on the edge of pavement layer at 25 feet on either side of the center line. And then we're going to trim the offsets at the intersection. So I'm going to go back to this. We're going to choose the edge of pavement layer. And offset is in the modify command. If you're not sure which one it is, you can always hover to figure out what is what. Offset is this little sideways U down here. So I'm going to click on that. It's going to say specify the offset distance, which I know to be 25. Enter. And I am going to select my object to offset. So I want to offset the road. Sweet. Sweet. And you can keep doing this over and over again. But there's a problem that we're going to talk about. So as we're doing this, once you finish, you can click escape. Well, I wanted this on the edge of pavement layer, and it's not. It's green, which means it's not on that blue edge of pavement layer. So how do I fix that? If I click on each of these, I can select the edges that I drew, select them all, and you'll see they're on the road CL layer. We don't want them there. We want them on the edge of pavement layer. If I go back into my layer editor and click on edge of pavement, they are now in that edge of pavement layer. Okay, let's zoom back out. Looking good. Okay. So I need to trim. This doesn't look like a good road. So I'm going to go up here. That looks like trim. Yep, sweet. And I'm going to select the objects to trim. I'm going to get rid of this guy. And then when we have words, sometimes it'll divide things up, and that's okay. So I'm going to trim all those pieces. Oh, no, I didn't want to do that. Oh, no, escape. I didn't want to do that. If I do that, I can undo. So in this case, Control Z, or up here, I can undo things. So if I do something I don't want to do because it is late and my brain isn't working, that is okay. You can undo them. Arrow means forward, backwards arrow means undo. So I do want to trim these, just not the green one. And I'm going to get rid of these two blue ones. And once I'm done with that command, I'm going to say escape. All right. Next, we're going to add text. Okay. Using dtext, aka the dynamic text command, place the lot numbers for each of the three building locations, lot 2, 3, 23, 24, 25. The lot numbers are to be placed such that the bottom of the text is on top of a line that connects the midpoints of the fence lines along the depth of the lots. And the height of the text is going to be 10. So this is the width of the lot. Here's our house. The depth of the lot is this way. So we want to figure out where the middle of these two lines are and have our text appear on that line. Here is the coolest thing about Civil 3D. I mean, among other things, I'm going to type in dtext. I'm going to press enter. It's going to say specify where I want my center text to be. If I hover, okay, I'm going to redo that. When I have my snaps enabled, I can hover over objects and it's going to show me where the center line is. So there's the center along the width. And if I hover over here, I'm going to get the center or the midpoint along the depth. And now, if I hover back over it, it goes away, which I don't want. So I'm going to make sure I have green in both of them. And if I move to where I know the midpoint of those two things is going to be, I can click and now I can type my text. So the height of the text is to be 10. So 10, and my rotation angle is 0. So I got lot 23. If I just press escape, it goes away. Not very helpful. So let's try that one more time. I'm going to grab the middle. I'm going to grab the middle. I'm going to hover in the center. I'm going to click. My height is 10. and my rotation angle is 0 and lot 23. I'm going to press enter and then I'm going to say escape. You might be saying, oh no, Professor Kelleher, these are supposed to be on the text. Text in the text layer. I forgot to put that in the text layer. Oh no, but you already know how to change that. So I'm going to click on this. I'm going to go up here and I'm going to click text. All right. Now I'm going to change it for real. When I change it up here, that makes that layer active, meaning I can draw on that layer. I'm going to detext again. I'm going to grab my center line. I'm going to grab my center line and move to the center. My height is 10. My angle is 0. Lot 24. Enter, escape. And last one, space bar, center, center. Grab both. Height is 10. Rotation is 0. And I have lot 25. Enter, escape. There we go. So you have 3 labels here. Next text, you're going to place the name of the longer road, Sydney Lane up here, so that it is centered on the midpoint of the straight line segment between points 14 and 16. So point 14 is right there. Point 16 is over there. So I want to grab the midpoint. If I'm not in a command, I can't grab the midpoint. It does say offset 5 feet above the center line. So that's harder to do with snapping. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to offset. So my offset distance, I want 5 feet above the center line. I'm going to grab that line and I'm going to, you can offset either way, but we said above. So I'm going to hover up there and I'm going to escape. And when I'm done, I'm just going to erase that. So detext, specify the center line. Again, I want to grab that middle point, and once I have it, I'm going to click. And the height of my text is 30. So 30. And my rotation is 0. So Sydney Lane. Oh no, the height is supposed to be 15. Escape. Let's try that one more time. So I can grab my center line, click, specify height, 15, rotation is 0. There we go. That looks a lot better. Don't press escape, press enter, and then press escape. All right, now I want to erase that offset, that 5 feet offset. So I'm going to click on that, press enter to say erase that. All right, this is looking pretty nice. Okay, place your name towards the bottom of the drawing. I'm going to detext this. The height of the text is to be 30. There's my 30. So let's detext. Let's just grab any point. Height is 30. Rotation angle is 0. So enter, escape. I got my name down here. All right, last but not least, we're going to create a border in the text layer. Rectangle command in the draw panel, you're going to place a rectangle so the bottom left corner is at coordinates 1550, 7000, and the top right corner is at coordinates 3050, 7900. All right, I'm going to show you how this works and how it sometimes doesn't work. So let's find a rectangle up in the draw, and I'm going to click rectangle. So it's asking you for the first point corner. So you could actually click, but we're giving coordinates. So I'm going to type in 1550 and then a comma, and that moves me to that other coordinate, which is 7000. I'm going to click enter. Look at that. We get the edge of our drawing. But take a look at what information it wants. Don't follow along, just pause and watch what I do. If I type in the next values, 3050, comma, 7900, I get a massive square that makes 0 sense. So I'm going to erase that. Hopefully you haven't entered that. You're just following along with me. So I'm going to re-enter my rectangle with points 1550, comma, 7000. So what it actually wants are those dimensions. So our x coordinate is at 1550 and our second x coordinate will be at 3050. I'm going to take 3050 minus 1550 to give me that width dimension. And that is 1500. Enter. All right. Except for when I press enter, you see it just fixed it in place. So again, we need to do something different to get that height as well. Last time, I believe, 1550, comma, 7000, enter. One dimension, we want it to be 1500. Instead of enter, if you do enter, it will just end the command wherever your cursor is. You're going to want to do a comma. And this is where you can specify your other corner. So I got locked in over here. I'm going to do that one more time. So I've got 1550, 7000, enter. I'm going to make sure I'm going this way. And I have 1500 there, comma. And my other coordinate is 900 up. And all of a sudden, I have a very nice border. So 900 came from taking 7,900 minus 7,000. Even if it looks weird, enter that second one. As you just saw for me, right? That fixed it and made it look good. I'm going to move my name a little bit over, specify my base point. Usually I use bottom left, move it here. I can take a screenshot. I should have been reminding you to save the whole time, but I didn't. Sorry about that. You should save early and often. I will usually remind you of this in lab. Last things to do, save, and then sign out and quit. So it's going to remind you, hey, you got to log in the next time. That's okay. Okay, so just for safety, again, open that homework 4 folder, go to your Google Drive. I'm already logged into mine. And go to my drive and your CE271 folder. And maybe you already have something here. This is from a previous year. We're just going to delete those, pretend they're not there. I'm going to, right over here, I just open my homework 4 folder. I can grab each of these individually, or if I hold down the shift key, I can select them both. And I can drag them up into my CE271 folder. And if I wanted to access these on a different computer, all I'd need to do is click, right click, and download. So save your drawings just for safety. Then you have them in case anything goes wrong. All right, folks, we're going to make it to the end of the video. Have a wonderful day.